Court decisions that have obviously led to setbacks in some of the more sweeping proposals by this administration, such as student loan relief or even affirmative action, when many people still feel that their civil liberties are being infringed upon. Is the administration confident that some of these economic achievements will really resonate among Black Americans throughout?
I do believe that when the rubber hits the road, people will pay more attention to these dramatic investments in their quality of life and listen more closely to these important issues. But that's politics. I want to make sure we stay closely to the policies.
Is the administration still on track to do that in the next decade?
As far as I understand.
It's quantified.
Sure. I would say this. The administration has, since day one, since the president signed his first executive order on making sure that everything we've done is focused on equity in this administration, and all of his work since then, including obviously another executive order signed on the anniversary of Bloody Sunday to make sure that the sacred right to the franchise is protected. It is sacrosanct in everything this administration does.
Thanks, Green. I wanted to get your response to some comments from Senator Sanders over the weekend. He said the president has every right to be proud of his record, but he seemed to suggest that the president should spend less time touting his record and Bidenomics and more time speaking to the anxieties of Americans who are still struggling in the current economy. He said Democrats up and down the line are going to have to be much clearer to the American people as to what they stand for. I wonder if you have any reaction to that.
So look, we agree with the senator, right? When it comes to what we're doing is just the beginning, right? This is part of trying to make sure that we do build a middle class. And so, look, we think there's more work to do. We're going to hear from this president this week about how he's going to continue to lower costs, right? Lower healthcare costs for Americans, something that the president, has been leading on, and his administration has continuously put out ways to do that. Inflation Reduction Act, how it's going to be able to help Americans lower costs.
A new AP poll asked Americans an open-ended question on their thoughts on the president, and the most common response has to do with his age, how old he is in president history. Does the White House have additional plans to demonstrate that he can continue to do the job at his advanced age and kind of allay some of those concerns?
I mean, look, I appreciate the question. I get it often, as you know, what I would say, and I've said this many times, and many of my colleagues have said this, the president says this, if you watch him, if you've seen what he's done the last 2 years, this is a president has had a historic administration in just 2 years. In many ways, this president has been able to do things that is going to change how American families move forward, whether it is economy, whether it's health care, whether it is trying to make sure that they are able to give to their, do what they can for their family, for their kids. That is important, and so that's what we will happily to discuss as it relates to age, what the president has been able to do and how he's been able to deliver.